Yeah, so welcome. This is the Tactics Talk, Reedy. We're going into probably a massive game for us against Newcastle, very tough one. I think the majority of fans at this point are accepting a defeat into the season and that we are as good as relegated, but mathematically it's not, confirmed or it's not settled yet, really. So obviously we're going in to do our Tactics Talk show. Where do we start, really? How are you lining up? Obviously, it was a pretty lackluster performance against Liverpool on Monday night, and we've got a massive game against Newcastle away at Newcastle, obviously. So, where do you start, really? Obviously, goalkeeper. Who's it going to be for you?
I think there's only one choice again. After last week, we heard that Danny Ward was injured with a dislocated finger. I'm not too sure how it's even happened because he's not really been doing anything major as he in training. So for me, it's obvious that Iverson goes in goal. But again, it's just so hard. Would you have him in the Championship side if we did go down? Would you keep him in the Premier League side if he did stay up? I'm not too sure. What's your kind of take on it? Because for me, Premier League, no. Championship, yes.
I think I agree with that. If we were to stay up in the Premier League this season, which is obviously a massive ask, I think our percentage rate to go down is something like 80% now. But if we go down, it's a Championship. I think we give him the season because I think that's a position covered at the very least, and it means we can save some money elsewhere. We can bring in players in different positions because God knows we're going to need it for next season. Whichever league we're in, that we're going to need to have a massive U-haul on players who comes in and who's going. Again, we're going to do a lot of replacing our key squad players, and we're going to have to sign Championship quality level players if we do go down. And I think Iverson, he fits in. I think he is Championship quality at his moment in his career.
He did get player of the season. Was it Preston last? Was it last year? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite Premier League quality yet in his career. Maybe he will be eventually. Obviously, keepers take a little bit longer to get in their prime. He's only 25, 26.
I think he's even younger than that, isn't he?
No, I think he's about 25, 26 now. So,
no, why you keep talking? I'm going to have a quick look because I'm curious about that.
I think, obviously, Iverson, he goes in the team for Newcastle because you've not got 25. Anyone else. There you go. Thank you, Reedy. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I'd put Iverson back into the team again. Not necessarily the best option, but it's the best option we have right now. So Iverson, goes back into the team. For the Newcastle game, really next on, we'll start off with your left and your right back. So let's start with your left back. Who would you shove in after Castagna was the chosen player to start against Liverpool?
Yeah, before I do get into left back, I think you're talking about the wrong player. That was Dewsbury Hall at Luton. I think Iverson was best player at Preston when he was there last season on loan. But yeah, left back for me, there's only one choice. I can't stand Castagna at left back. He's just not strong enough. He's not. Okay. He's not. I don't know. Then again, his right back at the moment is not great either. So for me, left back, I'm gonna go Christensen. I think you need to fight in the last 10 games and. That's what he gives. He gives the fight. Yes, again, like you say, he's always an airhead and he always puts challenges in. But at the moment, we need that to stay up. So,
yeah, I hear what you're saying with putting Christensen back into the team. About he's passionate. I think he's one of those players where he leaves it. He puts his heart on his sleeve for the pitch, but he leaves his boots in the changing room. Yeah. To be honest with you, he might, I could go out there and be passionate and leave everything out on the pitch, but I ain't got the quality to be a football player.
Yeah.
So for me, Christensen, I think at the moment in this time, he's not Premier League quality. Excuse me, sorry. And I just don't think for me, I am going to put Castagna back at left back, and I know dangerous move, but I think we need a bit more.
Especially against Almiron as well.
I know that it's a weird one, but I do think we need a bit more comfortability in the back. I think with having Castagna in there, at least he's got a calm head on himself, and he's an okay player. We know he has been a better player, but for me, Christensen, like I said, I don't think he is as good quality as we thought he was when we signed him, maybe initially. So for me, in a massive game against Newcastle, I think we just need to, keep it a little bit. I'd say comfortable because I think there's going to be a bit risky putting.
Again, would you rather be comfortable? That's my situation. I don't think you'd want to be comfortable at the back.
I would rather everyone had the same mentality as Christensen. on the pitch, or rather they would, because that's what we need. But which is a lot of players aren't doing it. But like I said, Christensen he leaves his boots in the changing room because he just doesn't do anything on the pitch to back up his passion, really.
Yeah, fair enough.
So-
Simon does say here, farther back with Christian and Evans, Castagna and Suter. We'll go on to a bit more of the defence later on, but to be honest, I feel like if we are going to go farther back against Newcastle, I think we're asking for trouble.
Again, however we play, I think we've put ourselves in a situation where we can win, and it doesn't mean anything really. So again, we do just need to get. I think a win is bare minimum, really. I don't think there's two ways.
Well, that is the situation now. We have to win both games, like Vardy said. We have to win both games to stay in the league, and that might not even be enough. So it all depends on how we do against Newcastle. We could be relegated if we lose to Newcastle. That is the situation it is right now. So we've got to make sure we get a result.
Yes, I think obviously we're both. I think we had a little chat before we went live. I think we're going to have a different lineup. So
right back for me.
Yeah, next one. I'm
going to go Ricardo. I think he was back fit against Liverpool. He obviously came off early because he's only just got back fit, but he has to be in that lineup for me. I'm not a big fan of Castagna anymore. He tries to give all he can, but I don't think the quality's there. And I think our best defender all over at the moment is still Ricardo Pereira. As much as he gets injured, he is still our best.
Yeah, I would
defender
agree
altogether.
That he is our only right back option at the moment, with Justin being out as well. Justin, obviously, he was very versatile, playing left and right back. So for me, I would agree. I'd put Ricardo at right back. Take time.
Me?
Yeah, I put him at right back.
Yeah.
As my choice, he looks. I wouldn't say okay. No one looked okay against Liverpool, but that's just what we really have at the moment to offer. And I think you're going to see Dean Smith play the same kind of situation he did against Liverpool. So Pereira goes into team now. We'll move on to two centre-back choices because I've changed mine around a bit. I would only assume you've changed yours around from Liverpool.
Go on, you go first.
So for me, Evans, he gets back into the team as much as you're going to not put him in the team because I know what you like. For me, he's the captain of the club, and he has that bit more stability at the back where he's going to offer you that captaincy a bit more. He's got the professionalism over player like Fies, because Fies is the one I'm dropping because I'm putting Suter as my other centre-back. I think against, Newcastle, they're very attacking. They've got tall strikers and they're very quick at the counter-attack. I do think we need someone who can stop the crosses coming in. Again, this is more just me basing on Fies. And he got lobbed over a couple of times against Liverpool, and that's where the goals came from. One of the goals, especially, he got lobbed, and he didn't do much to do anything for it. So I've not seen anything too much different from Vice to Suter to, not change it up a little bit. I think we do need to try a little bit more new tactics going into the Newcastle game. And, I'm not really sure where we go. Obviously, I would put Soyuncu in there, but we just checked before that he is out until mid-June. So we've agreed that there's no point to even talk about him in the starting lineup. So Soyuncu would have been in my team, but he is unavailable. So that is why, for me, I'm changing Fies up for Suter.
Yeah, I am going to disagree with you, obviously. For me, I'm done with Evans. I can't see what people see in him anymore. He's done a good job for us at Leicester, obviously. But when you just watch him on the ball, he just stands still. And you might say that's a good thing, but the likes of even Amati, he moves on the ball. He tries to create a bit of space. With the moment the ball comes to Evans, he just stands there and basically expects people to come to him. And is that leadership? I'm not sure, but I just feel like we need someone a bit more agile and a bit more forward thinking on the ball. And that's why I'm going to put Suter in, just for the height as well, like you say. If the ball's going over the top to their fast attackers, you need someone who can just make sure it doesn't go anywhere near past the defence. And then I'm going to put Faze in as well. Again, yes, it was a bit of an error from him to concede that first goal. Was it the first goal? I think so, yeah. But again, I just, with Soyuncu out, he was my only first choice, wasn't he?
Yeah,
so now he's out. There's no other choice but to put one of the three in. So
Fies for me is championship quality, maybe at this moment in his career. It's tough, really, because like we said, I'm looking at the back four. You can switch between mine and yours, and when you look at them, if I listed off all of them from left to right, especially in your one, if you ask me, Iverson Championship, Christensen Championship, Fides Championship, Suter Championship, Pereira, massively injury prone. So our back five for me is Championship / injury prone quality. And Pereira's obviously recovering back from a very, string of long-term injuries. So it's tough for him to get back to fully match fitness. He's only played one game since being injured again after just being out for another 8 months. So, it's very long-winded for him. He played one game against Liverpool and we still conceded 3. So it's tough to see where the goals stop coming in. But that's why if you look at my team, really, I think that backline at least is experienced in some ways. Pereira, he's injury prone, but he's been in and around the Premier League team for 4, 5, 6 years now. Castagna, pretty much the same, 3 or 4 years. Suter, again, championship quality is the only one. But again, who else do you play? Evans obviously had his massive time at Man United. Yeah, he's a little bit injury prone, but he's at least back fit now, so I think he gets into the team. And then Iverson championship. So even my team, I'm saying to myself, I think it's massively championship quality.
I think what we've got to say as well, with the reason why I've picked my back four and the keeper is, as much as you're probably going on a more experience basis, if you go back to mine, I'm going more who is going to be here next season as well. Because nearly every single one of them, obviously, other than Ricardo, if he does leave, but I can't see it because he's got such a big contract still for the next at least 2 years. So everyone's there is going to be in the back four next season. So they will want to win it if they want to stay up. So for me, I chose it just on that bias as well. But again, they're my choices.
If we did stay up, was that how you'd line up in the Premier League?
It all depends on if we buy anyone new or we do let people go.
I understand that side could probably handle the championship to some extent. I wouldn't know what, because obviously
I think Christensen would be perfect in the championship.
I wouldn't say perfect,
but he's got the fight in him. He wants to get stuck in, and I think in the championship he'll be a lot more likely to be better like that. I mean,
again, it's different to say. Obviously, I don't like talking about the fact that we're going to be in the championship, but you just got to put yourself in the situation. That's where we're going to be. So we'll move on really, obviously, to the midfield now. I think we're kind of on the same page as defence and goalkeeper. I think kind of, if we had better options, we would play them, but due to injuries and rubbish signings, this is where we're stuck with. So for me, the first player I would go for as a defensive midfielder, it's got to be Mendy. Really, we talked about it the other day that he's made 17 appearances this season, and he's been involved in 7 wins.
7 of the 8 wins, yeah.
7 of the 8 wins this season. I don't know why he doesn't get into the team. He's fully fit to play, but he just sits on the bench week in, week out. He really doesn't get a look in, and Diddy gets over him, and Samari does as well, and they're both off form, bang average, whatever you want to say. They're both just not playing well, or as well as they could be, or that's the standard of football that we've got at the moment. But for me, Mendy, at least you know what he's going to give you. And against Newcastle, I think we need someone who's not going to make as many mistakes as Ndidi or Samari would do as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, I might as well just put the same person in because he's in my team as well. He, like we say, he's been in 7 of the 8 wins we've played with. And that obviously shows you the reason why we're winning games, and that's because he's in that midfield. The only reason I always say that there's only reasons why someone like Ndidi or Samari gets picked, and that is either because of the training and what they're doing, obviously showing it on the training pitch, or it's the fact that because of the opponents we're against, they're obviously picking them for certain stuff for what they're based on, like height of Ndidi or Samari because he's more box to box, and then Mendy is. It all depends on how he wants to line up. Again, it might not be the best quality of players in like Samari and Ndidi, but when you've got Mendy, as much as he might not give you what you kind of wanted in the side against your opposition, you know what you're going to get.
An 8 out of 10 every week. I think he gives you a lot more than Ndidi and Samari do at the moment in time. Kante came in, a lot of people slated him because he was who plays a defensive midfielder or who signs a defensive midfielder who's as small as he is. And now look at him, or even look at him when he when he was part of the Premier League winning team. Mendy, for me, it doesn't matter about height. He's nippy, he's quick, he can get in and around, the players. And I think, like we said, Reedy, 7 out of 8 wins Mendy's been involved in. So why does he not get into the team as much as he does? It baffles me. It baffles you, I think. So we're putting him in our team. Does he get in against Newcastle? Probably not.
He probably won't be, but he has to. If we want to have any chance in winning this game, and make it 8 wins for him, you've got to put him in. And we'll move into the next 2 midfielders because I've got a 2 midfield in front, behind the top 3. But for me, I'm going to go Pratt as one of them.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to keep mentioning his name. He's not going to get in, but it's just what we think. Pratt's going to be one of my midfielders, and the other one is going to be Sumari. I'm not putting Yuri Tillemans in. He's not good enough at the moment. He doesn't want to be here. The only other choice I would have picked out of them is Dewsbury Hall, and it looks like he's injured. So the only other choice, if it's not Yuri Tillemans, is Sumari. And as much as I guess I didn't want to put him in, he's the only other choice that we've got. So
yeah. I understand where you're coming from. I think I've come with very similar, thoughts. For me, in my team, I agreed to put Pratt in. I think Pratt does. Again, we just need to change things up. We've not seen much of anything from Pratt this season at all. So he does get in. And my other one, it is Tielemans. But again, really, this is just based on the fact that Dewsbury's injured. It would be Dewsbury if he was fit. But he's not. Sumari had a poor game. Tielemans, he also had a poor game. I don't know who else you put as the other central midfielder.
Again, I'm only putting your Sumari again, not just because he's going to probably might be here next season, but Yuri Tillemans is not. And we keep saying to drop him. Again, there's no other choices there. So the only reason I've picked your Sumari is because
I think we're kind of doing the same thing. If Dewsbury was fit, we'd both be in our teams for the game. But he's not. He's, like I said, same as Zunchu. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the season now. So I put Tielemans in there. I don't even know why he's in and around the team, to be honest with you. But this is just based on what we have quality-wise now. I don't know. I just can't think off the top of my head or who in that team at the moment really gets ahead of him. I wouldn't say Sumari does. I think both Sumari and Tielemans are both in off form. I guess you could maybe argue Sumari's had the past few games on a decent little run prior to that, but again, against someone like Newcastle who are on form, if the mistakes he made against Liverpool, if he does that against Newcastle, it's going to be more than 3 goals because what kind of form.
Because then again, all I'm going to point out is apparently Phil decided to say that Sumari had an okay game against Liverpool. So we can't, if he can say that, then I'm not too sure what we're thinking. But obviously next into midfield, then obviously into the attacking midfield. Sorry, there's only one choice, isn't there? It's Maddison. Much as I probably would like to drop him because it's the same as your Tillemans situation. You can't drop Maddison, can you?
No, I agree with you. He's kind of spat his dummy out, maybe got a foot out the door already. Doesn't look interested in Leicester at the moment. But who else do you play, really? This is the problem. We don't have anyone else to replace again. If you ask me, we shouldn't have blown Perez out. We pay his wages still, and whilst Maddison's being stroppy, you play Perez in his position because I didn't think he was doing awfully. I thought he was actually coming off from the bench and doing okay.
Yeah, I agree.
But we loaned him out because he probably wanted to go, and again, he's going at free at the end of the year, at the end of the season. But he's a Leicester player. We're paying his wages. No doubt it's probably 50-50 or something like that where he's at now. But whilst he was a Leicester player, I would have kept him. And for me, I would put Perez in over Maddison, but this is here nor there. He's not here, so Maddison gets into the team still. I'm not saying he deserves it, but who else do you play? That's the problem.
Again, we're getting to the point now where we're saying who else do you play because we're struggling with injuries again. After Liverpool, before the Liverpool game, we were all saying like, "Where's Dewsbury? Where's all these?" And then we hear that there's so many injuries. It does kill us. But then are we being forced to not go with wingers? I guess because it looks like we're both going 2 strikers. I think that's the only choice we've got to go with.
I think we're going to disagree on the strikers, though.
I'm not too sure because I'm going up top.
We'll see who you put first. Then.
Firstly, I'm going to put Vardy.
Yeah, I think we can both agree on that one.
I've got to put him up there. He's the only one that's probably going to save us, if anything. And the other one is going to be Kelechi Iheanacho. He looks like he should be back fit.
Does he? You should have told me that before. I put someone else
there. He looks like he's back fit. We've been told he should be back fit for the last 2 games of the season. If he's not, then I apologise. As I'm looking on my phone now, the press conference is going ahead as we speak. So if there's anything changing, then we can't help that. But it looks like he is back fit from what we know of. in the last 2 games. So I'm guessing that might change your.
I'm changing my
lineup.
team definitely now. Yeah, so I agree with the strikers.
All we're going to
then.
say is who was going to be your striker.
Mine was going to be Barnes as my other striker,
Okay.
just
But
based
it's
on the
not.
fact that he keeps scoring. No, if Nacho's fit, Nacho's up there for me. I'd put Nacho into that team with Hardy, same as you. Again, I think we've got fairly similar teams.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't know where to change the team around too much. Like you said, if not fit, I completely forgot that he did say he could be back for the last 2 games. He does get back into the team. I think he walks back into it. So yeah, I think there's nothing against like Barnes and that, but they haven't been as good as.
Thing is, we always ask for Barnes to get back in when he's injured, but when he comes back in, you just don't see enough from him. As much as he's top goal scorer and he's got another 2 goals the other week against Fulham, they were tap-ins, and it's just getting to the point now where we need to move forward. We need to be a direct and forward with the balls, and the likes of Pratt and if it's Yuri Tillemans or Sumari or whatnot, just to put the balls to the 2 strikers and just let them work together, because we've not had the 2 strikers up front for a long time. We've been using wingers and it's just not been working. Tete on the wing is just not good enough. Barnes again barely uses it in the attack, so we've got to go somewhere different. And we've both gone for talk front. Let's get a few comments in before we do finish. Dean says, "Does it really matter anymore? We are down next season's fresh start. Thank God." Okay, wishing to put that one up. Got to play tilt front, fed up with 4-2-3-1 rubbish all season. Again, that's because of wingers. Barnes is in form right now. He has started. We have to have any hope for. I'm sorry, but he's
Barnes
not in form. He's not scoring every single game. He's not in form at all. All people will look at is his stats and think we have to play him. I'm sorry, we do not put him in.
Yeah, I agree. He scored a couple of goals here and there. I wouldn't say he's.
Jake Fox leaving Tillemans in the team is criminal.
He's obviously disagreeing with me. Again, the only reason I put him in there is because I don't know who else you'd put ahead of him.
It's called Sumari, mate.
I don't agree with that. I mean, Jake, if you want to comment and think if you'd rather put Sumari in over Tillemans, let me know, because that's what it sounds like you're trying to say.
But yeah, that's where we're going to end it. I think with Matthew being the last comment of the day, Barnes over Madison for me, and Sumari over Tillemans. Again, it's all about opinions. Sam's picked his team on opinion. I've picked mine, everybody based on mostly experience or whoever's going to be here next season. I think that's just down to what we think. But I think that's where we're going to leave it. And Chester says, at any point in doing a tactics talk, we're going to get destroyed anyway. We've got to be hopeful. As much as we think we're down already.
Yeah.
If we do get anything at Newcastle, it will probably mean we're down to the last day, and we could still survive if we do get something on the last day. But it all depends on this Newcastle game, because, like I say, by the end of that Newcastle game, we could be relegated. So we have to perform to our best abilities to want to stay up. But Jake does say, assume KDH is going to be back fit by then.
Says he's out till June.
Apparently he's out till June, but that's fine. Hopefully you enjoy, guys, and we'll catch you all on the next show. See you in a bit.